I promised myself to share my own experience when I purchased my first home and the mistake that I went through with every client that comes my way. And that's the reason I'm in this business today. In this video, I will be sharing 10 mistakes that buyers make when they're purchasing their home. So stay tuned. Let me walk you through this. Number one, it's not knowing why are you buying a home and being under the impression that renting is bad. Yes, you heard that correct. I'm a realtor. I'm a real estate agent. And not every rental is bad. Not in every market. You're not making anybody rich if you're paying or your payment limit cannot match a purchase of a home within the area that you live, and you must live in that area. I'm going to expand what I just said. So let's say you live in an area that most homes are for over $1 million and your mortgage comes to about close to $5,000 a month plus all the expenses that there is to buy a home. If your rent is only half the cost of what your mortgage is, then maybe rental is good for you for that moment of time. So I'm not against this. You shouldn't be. So just because the belief is in that the rental is bad or renting is bad, shouldn't jump you toward purchasing a home if that's your only reason. So the first mistake that many buyers do, they're not sitting down and do analysis, understanding why is it that they want to buy a home. So ask yourself this question: why are you buying a home? Number two, it's super important, and it's the biggest mistake that many buyers do before purchasing their home, and that is not getting pre-qualification financially. Or in other words, we call it pre-approval. If you don't have your pre-approval, you don't have guidance. Let me give you an example on this. If within your area, most homes are selling around $1 million for a 2-bedroom condo and that's what you desire, unless you have $1 million sitting in your bank account, you need to get pre-approval to understand whether you can purchase a 2-bedroom condo at $1 million. So it's a guidance and stepstone to tell you what are your financial needs and requirements and what are the lenders out there they require from you. Not only pre-approval is to set your limit of expense of how much money you have to spend or how much home you can afford, it also asks you and qualifies you in the purchase of your home and gets you ready for all the expenses there are. And make sure to get your mortgage pre-approval before you start searching for home. Number three mistakes that many buyers do is to look for a unicorn. The first meeting that I always have with my buyer clients is to sit down and understand what their wish lists are. Now, we just talked about your budget, and your budget should reflect only and only from your pre-approval. You may have many criteria and wish lists on your list. It is best to sit down with your advisor, like your real estate agent, and discuss these wish lists. However, the mistakes that many buyers they do is to expect a unicorn, and they want to have a swimming pool, they want to have a concierge, they want to have a newer building with air condition and marble and this and that and terrace and rooftop. These sometimes it cannot match, and you need to be realistic. Let me shake you and bring you back to reality, and this is something that your advisor needs to do with you other than your budget, to go through your wish list and tells you whether it is realistic or possible or you're expecting too much. Perfect communication. So do not look for a unicorn. And within what I experience in my purchase of a home, sometimes you have to give up not very important criteria and wish list. If it check marks 75% of your list, that's the home for you. Number four mistake that many buyers do is to enter the market with no knowledge and not understanding the valuation and just looking at the list price and making decision based on that. in any market, list price, it's not the market valuation of that property. What is market value and how do you determine a market value? A market value is when a ready and willing buyer, like yourself, is to make a bona fide offer. What is that? Unconditional offer, and they waive all the terms and conditions. They're ready to move forward and they show a good faith making a very clean offer on certain property for that certain price. And if the seller accepts that offer and it becomes firm, then that's the market value. Valuation of a property, it's one of the most important factors in purchasing a home. Your negotiation should fall only and only based on the knowledge and being advised on what the valuation of that property is. Let me expand this. As a real estate agent and advisor for many home buyers that I have represented, I provided the home valuation before they can make an offer. I called it comparable market analysis. Now, in addition to just looking at what other homes were sold at and come up with a valuation and comparable solds, I also analyzed price indexing, sales ratio, and area trends. That is important to come up with an overall understanding of the market and the valuation. Number 5 mistake that buyers make when they're looking or purchasing a home, it's underestimating the expenses involved as a home buyer. This is something that you need to refer to your advisor down the road as you are going through and understanding what are the expenses involved. Now, look at this video I made just right above here. It will guide you through all the expenses in 3 stages of during the transaction, at the closing cost, and even expenses as homeowner. So definitely refer to this video. It will help you a lot. Number 6, it actually stems from number 5, and that's not knowing the closing costs involved. In the same video that I made and I referred you to it, I also discuss about every closing cost that there is. As a home buyer, I made that mistake, and when at the closing time came by, I was surprised of what I have to pay property transfer tax fee. What is that? I have to pay legal fees. What's that? I have to pay moving fee, and those were surprising for me. I don't want you to make that same mistake. Number 7 is being rushed into the decision or fear of missing out. I'm going to give you an example. We just went through a market starting at the pandemic in 2020, and it was just a crazy market with a lot of FOMO out there. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out. And based on the low interest rate, many buyers start doing activities, and many buyers that were sitting on the sidelines, they felt that they are missing out on low interest rate. They were right, but to the point of it, you need to make decision not based on being rushed out. You need to be logical. You need to give yourself time to do the due diligence, to purchase that big investment, and also be moderate and understanding of what's happening around you without being influenced by it. Number 8, it also stems from number 7, and that's emotional attachment. Many home buyers out there, they make that mistake when they make an offer on a property, they get emotionally attached to it because I understand you saw your family living in there. Don't make that mistake. Emotion can shoot you in your foot when it comes to purchasing a home. Keep your emotion intact and think logical, because it's the biggest financial decision you're making. It should be based on other factor than emotion. Number 9 mistake, and it's very common in many provinces in Canada, is that the buyer is under impression if they deal with listing agent, they get a better deal. Let me tell you this. When the listing agent is signing a contract with that seller as their brokerage, they are going to charge that seller their side of the deal and the buyer side of a deal. So they have the total amount agreed in the contract. But aside from the money, the most important thing is your protection. Ask yourself this: are you fully protected when you're dealing with a listing agent whose actual client and representation is only for the seller. It's best to find a buyer agent that you can trust and have a wonderful communication with, and that person as your advisor can negotiate and guide you for your benefit. Number 10 mistake that home buyers do is to put themselves out there dealing with anyone that comes on their way as an agent. It is important for you to first and most to interview the agent, understanding their qualification. Second, pointing this out, how important communication is and how important the comfort level is between you and your agent. In other words, I describe that as real estate marriage. It is important to hire someone that backs you up, that understands your need, and you also, on the other hand, can fully communicate and be comfortable with. So don't deal with anyone and whoever that comes your way, or do not deal with few agents at the same time, expecting them whoever finds you the best deals. Don't be afraid of a commitment to an agent. If the communication and relationship is not working out, most agents, they will release you from that contract. And it is important to have that written in a contract somehow, so both sides, you have that understanding. But don't be afraid of committing yourself to an agent, because at the same time, that agent also is going to commit themselves to you fully and ethically and emotionally and professionally. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up and follow my YouTube channel. The more likes and comments that I get from you, it would certainly encourage me to make more videos just like this one.